Hi, I'm Alissa Garcia, and today I'm here to interview one of our investment advisors, Matt Biggs. Matt works out of our Columbus office, and he's been with us for a few years now, and he has had an interesting year because Matt and his wife had their first baby. So Matt, first question I want to ask you so we can get to know you a little bit better. What has fatherhood been like so far since Charlie was born?
Yeah, I mean, I could talk about this for maybe an entire hour. I will spare anyone viewing that pleasure. I would say, the first thing I think of it's basically exactly what I've expected. So, right, loss of sleep, late nights, early mornings, etc. The thing that I probably did not expect though was like he's started to hit these milestones, right? So he's 9 months old now. He's gotten out some first words, he's crawling, he's trying to walk right now. So it's like every other week it feels like something new is happening. And I guess I didn't anticipate like the amount of pride I would have when all of those things happen, right? So it's like you never think about that like on the lead up to the birth, and when they're first born, you don't imagine like what it's going to be like, when all these things happen. And as they've happened, I've just been like, that interview question that's always, name an achievement that you're most proud of. It's like every time these things happen, I'm just like, well, that just became my new interview answer because it's like it's topped everything I've ever done in my professional life. So I'd say that's the thing I didn't anticipate is like how proud I am of everything he's doing.
Oh, yeah, and it makes all those sleepless nights worth it.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Yeah.
Well, as I mentioned, you've been with us for a few years now. So what made you choose the field of, being an investment advisor? And then how did you end up with us at Schneider Wealth Management?
Yeah, it's a good question. I've thought about this a lot, like as I've kind of gotten into the field. I think that really what started or where this started was as a kid. Like I was way more aware of, I would say, money and the value of money when I was young compared to my peers and maybe like my brother and sister. I was just always like frugal, and I didn't want to ask mom and dad for anything or any money, and not that we didn't have it and not that they couldn't give it to me, but I think that I was just very aware of like what it meant and what else it could be doing for the family. So fast forward into high school, I learned about this thing called the stock market where I basically looked at it like educated gambling. So you're telling me that I can spend hours and hours reading about a company and their financials, and I can put money into that company, and that money can potentially grow if they do well and my educated guess pays out correctly. So that I think that's what led me into that direction. And then I didn't really know like what capacity I wanted to work with money for, right? So like college, I just took the investment track at Ohio State, and I knew I wanted to do something with investments. Whether that was an analyst or an advisor, I had no idea. But I started interning as an advisor, and that's really when I knew like, okay, this is what I want to be doing long term. I just need to find the right company. So that leads us to the second part of the question is, what led me to Schneider Downs? So the first, handful of years, 5-6 years of my career, I felt like I was a good advisor, but I was much more transactional. And I felt like at times I was doing what was right for my paycheck and my incentive versus what really should be doing for the clients. So then I was low-key looking for about a year, and that led me to Schneider Downs. So I talked to multiple companies. I met with Nancy, our CEO, and Dave, the partner out of the Columbus office. Met with them, and I could tell that it was a company that I wasn't going to be pressured into doing what was wrong for the client because it's what was better for the SDWMA or Schneider Downs Wealth Management. I could just do what was right for the client, and that was going to be enough. So at that point, I knew, I was in a good position. I was in a good company, and I wasn't going to be asked to do anything I wasn't comfortable with. I could always put the client first. And, since I've been here, I can absolutely say that's been the case.
That's great. And I would 100% agree on that. Just throughout my background, that's been a really nice thing.
Right.
You sleep well at night, right?
Exactly.
Because it's not about you. It's not about a bonus. It's not about owning something, right? That we work as a team and we're always acting in the best interest of our clients.
And I even told, Nancy and Dave that there had been nights that I had lost sleep over something I had done, and I was just over it. So it's nice to not feel that way anymore.
Absolutely. Last question I have for you today is, how has Schneider Downs Wealth Management helped you in your career development?
Yeah, so I would say multiple ways, right? So if you would have interviewed me 5 years ago, I would have called myself a good advisor. And now I look back, through that 5 years, and I'm like, I did not know anything back then. I thought I did, but I have learned so much over the last 3 to 4 years. Specifically, I think tax planning, right? If you would have asked me 5 years ago, I also would have said, go talk to a CPA. I don't know anything about taxes. Now I'm educated enough that I can answer, the majority of questions surrounding taxes. Oh, and we get to look at your investments through a tax, lens, right? So we want to be tax efficient. So that's probably the area that I've evolved the most as an advisor. And I think I've had, the benefit of having really good mentors here. Not just, Dave Brinkman and Kyle Zeller out of the Columbus office, but even some of the folks in Pittsburgh have been great, kind of mentoring me along and helping me learn the role and learn ways to get better. So, Schneider Downs Wealth Management has done a ton for me, and I think I'm probably 10 times the advisor I was 3 years ago. So it's been a great experience so far.
Well, we all think the world of you as a person and as an advisor, and I really appreciate you taking the time just to be here. So let me interview you a little bit so we can all get to know you better. And thanks so much.